Hello everyone, welcome back to Always Forever Creations. My name is Stephanie, and if you're new, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. In today's video, we are going to be talking about zones in terms of organization. I am a certified organizational specialist. I got my certification through Clutterbug, and if you are interested, I will link all the Clutterbug information down below. They have a YouTube channel and courses, so you can become a certified organizational specialist if anyone out there is interested. I highly recommend Clutterbug and Cass, who is the owner and founder of Clutterbug, because they break down different organizing styles, and it's very important to know your organizing style to keep a successful organized space. Anyway, even with the knowledge of knowing how to organize a space and go through the steps, I was still feeling very overwhelmed getting my space set up from when we moved. And so for a really long time, none of my stuff was unpacked. So I was having a conversation with myself in my head, as you know, I think that's normal, right? People do that. So I sat down with myself and said, okay, what's the first step to getting organized? And that's decluttering. And maybe this is where I was kind of getting hung up and overwhelmed, because I was kind of having the opposite issue of why you would want to declutter. I was trying to make when half my stuff was in boxes and I was missing my things, but it made me feel really good about what I have. I do have to say that I now know that I do in fact use what I have, and you know, that's of course what you want in your space. You don't want a bunch of things that you aren't using taking up space in your home, right? Because the most valuable thing in our home is space. So I was happy about that. So then I had to go to the next step, right? And that is creating zones. And this is what was really helpful for me to overcoming that overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, I don't know where to put anything. So a zone in your home or in your space is an area where you store and perform a task, right? A great example of this is in the kitchen. If you wake up every morning and you make coffee, you want your coffee maker, your mugs, your coffee, everything you need to make it right there in the same area, so you're not searching around the kitchen, digging through cabinets to get your morning coffee. Because honestly, some days when I go to make coffee, I'm kind of like, how do you expect me to make my coffee before my coffee, right? So, or if you are a baker and you do a lot of baking, you know, daily or weekly, you want your mixer and your ingredients and your measuring cups all in the same space so it's easy to access. So having zones in your spaces is great. Now in a craft room, it looks a little differently because, you know, I'm not going to be, you know, doing my stamping in, you know, one area or doing my sewing in this area. I will do that all on the same table, but having like items together, so when I do want to, you know, search for paper, it's not a big search. I know exactly where my scrapbook paper is going to be. I know exactly where my journaling paper is going to be. I know exactly where my scrap paper is going to be. So that is where I kind of started, and I had already started to unpack and put things on shelves, so I did have to move things around a little bit before unpacking the rest of the boxes. But it was really nice. I took, and I'm going to go through this with you guys, but I took pictures of my 2 shelving units that I have, and then I went through and I labeled what was going to go on each shelf and each drawer, at least some kind of idea, right? I did use an app called Milanote to help me with this, and I'm not sponsored by Milanote, at least not yet. Maybe someday that would be awesome, because I really do love this program, and you can use it on your desktop. You can use it on your phone or your iPad, and it is great for creatives. So I definitely recommend checking that out. I do have a link below. It's a referral link. It's free to use. Highly recommend. So we're gonna go through real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it could probably get a little boring, but showing you how I labeled my zones. Here is part of my space, and what I am thinking is putting all my journaling pages that I use for my junk journals up here, which is all this stuff here. And then all my scrapbooking paper is gonna go in this area here. And then I'll put my scrap paper next to it on this shelf, and there might be some overflow, but I don't think it'll be too bad. And then in this area up here, I'm gonna have greeting cards, the cards that I pre-made, and envelopes, and maybe just some little miscellaneous things because I think I'll have some space on this shelf. And then my printer and computer are gonna stay where they are right now. I'm going to hang this shelf on this wall here. And then down here, I have some work things, like real work things. And then I'm hoping my Cricut will fit in this space right here. I'm hoping that could be my Cricut. Why am I trying to write it? There we go. See, it fits. And then in these drawers down here, I'm gonna have my printing paper and labels, handkerchiefs. I do have tape in here, and like my Velcro and glue, like hot glue sticks, and that worked out in the last house. That's always been there. I also might use one of these drawers for like my hot glue gun, my heating gun. I have some other like tools in here, tape gun. I guess all the guns are gonna go in here. That sounds bad, sorry. So that's what I'm thinking there. I will have to rearrange before I start unpacking the rest of my boxes too. So moving on to the next part of my room. Here it is. It is a mess. But what I'm thinking on this side, I know I want like the books I have that I use for journaling and referencing to go on this middle shelf here. I'm thinking this kind of section, probably this whole section, is gonna be for things that I have already made or in my Etsy shop, and things that I need to make. I need to separate those. I don't think I have the shelf for it. I want to get a tote to put like the things that I've made into, so they stay safe from dust and things like that. And then I'm thinking these drawers will be embellishments and ephemera. That's kind of easy. I would like maybe this shelf here to be like smaller materials that I could use to make things with, like paper bags and napkins and index cards and playing cards, things like that. Then I'm thinking these next couple drawers will be other types of tools, like hole punch, washi tape, sticker maker. I just like random things like that. I'm still unsure. This bottom drawer will be for materials to make journal covers. And then over here, I'm gonna have kind of what's there. It's gonna be all my markers and pastes and things, glues, embossing powders, things like that. I have another tower somewhere in a box that will go in this section here. And then I need to have a place for ribbons and trims, so hopefully the shelf isn't too thin for that. And then the rest I'm gonna have to kind of figure out as I go. I do need a spot for like my ink daubers and inks and stuff. So, but before I can finish unpacking, again, I need to rearrange what I've already thrown on shelves and then start the unpacking process. So now that I had everything labeled, it made it really easy to pull an item out of the box and go, okay, I know exactly where this is gonna go. This is an embellishment, it goes in this drawer. Okay, this is paper, it goes on this shelf. This is a book, it goes on this shelf. So it became a lot less overwhelming. It became a lot less guessing and trying to figure out where to place things. And it should have been a no-brainer, but I don't know. I've been in a weird space for quite a while now, and sometimes it's hard to do it for yourself, right? Again, if a friend had asked me, hey, I need help unpacking my space, I would have known exactly what to do. I don't know. So now that everything is unpacked, I feel better. I do. I can get back to making. Now, it's not perfect. I do want to live in this space and make sure like things are gonna function well and things are that I use more often are easy to access, rather than, you know, there are some things I'm okay with digging for a little bit more because I don't use it every day. I will have to go back in and organize each category at a later date, once I know that that is its home for sure. But I did, again, like while I was unpacking, I made it very easy for me. It's like, okay, it goes in this drawer, I just threw it in. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So hopefully in the next few months, I can go back in and refine those categories and organize like the little spaces themselves. I am a micro organizer, and I also am a visual organizer. And I think most creatives are. It's like a personality thing, right? So that might be something to keep in mind when and if you are working on your space. And I hope this is helpful to you, whether you have recently moved, or you're planning on moving, or you're just feeling overwhelmed in your space and you need to declutter and organize. And I know also another great personality trait of makers is we see potential in everything, and I give you permission to let some of that go, because you're always going to come across more things. You're always going to have more things than you could ever possibly, make within a lifetime. So it is okay to get rid of things and simplify your space and simplify your life a little bit. Because again, there will always be more stuff. And again, space is the most valuable thing in your home. It really is. And it should be filled with the things you absolutely love and the things you absolutely need. That is all I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for being here. Please be sure to subscribe if you have not already, and like the video, and leave a comment. How about we do little flower emojis, because I am so ready for things to bloom. We bought our house in November and it's winter. We're in northern Arizona. So everything was kind of dormant and we don't know what anything is. So I'm just like ready for things to bloom and find out what they are and then decide if I want them or not. So yes, flower emojis in the comment section. Anyway, I hope you feel inspired and motivated to maybe organize one of your spaces. Thank you again. Let's get together again soon. I just moved all those boxes from one pile into another to get that shot. Hope it looks cool. Don't believe everything you see on the internet.